Uh, Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished panelists on the dais, good afternoon. It's really a pleasure being here. Just a minute. Can you just help me with this full screen? Appropriate technology choices for development. The first place where I get stuck up is in the presentation, because wherever you go, you don't have the appropriate choice of technology. Technology is forced by, what I say, by ignorance. I'll just have basically 2 slides to show, and maybe 1 or 2 just to put some certain things in perspective. And if the moderator allows me a couple of minutes more, because I'm from Northeast, so I'll just share a few things about what we are doing for technology in the Northeast. The basic thing which I wanted to put forth before you is the total cost of ownership debate, which keeps happening all across the world. If you look at the major reports, you'll find that the total cost of ownership of a free software, and here I'm not defining actually what is free software. I understand that we all know it very well. Free software versus proprietary software is always shown that the free software is very, very costly in the end to own up and manage and control. But let me tell you that, whatever Akhtar has said, I fully agree with him. If I'm in Microsoft, or if I were Bill Gates, I'll allow every single code of Microsoft to be totally available free of cost for everybody. And still, I'll make 1,000 times more money. That's my proposition. Now, I just give you one thing. I had a pointer, but anyway. You see, you buy MIS Office Suite 2020 at $3. And that's a proprietary software. You buy my Office Suite 2050, which is at $5,000 per license. Which one? Oh, yeah, sorry. So, which you think is actually a lower cost? The $3 product or $5,000 product? If you give it typically to World Bank, and I can also put DFID into that picture, they will say the proprietary $3 is cheaper. But I can tell you that I can sell Microsoft at $50,000 per license and make it free. That's the difference. We must try to understand what's actually free software. Free software really doesn't mean there's no cost. There is cost, but look at the flip side. What Akhtar is talking about, a benefit to the society. That $3 software has 0 benefit to the society, whereas that $50,000 software has $1 million benefit to the society, because people, children, students, researchers can play with the code and can innovate. Now, that's the basic. I think we both are in sync on that. So what I'm saying is that those people who really want to calculate TCOs, they need to look at this thing. Currently, the industry is used to calculating TCOs in a very, very wrong way. That's not done. And because of that, I'm saying is that actually we are misleading our society, because the societal cost of owning a product is not calculated. If you do that, a $50,000 Office suite will be 1,000 times cheaper than a $3 proprietary suite. That's what I want to tell you in the first slide. Now, in the second slide, just look at the other point of view. Well, it may look pretty odd to say that. Supposing if a government, because I'm the government sector, I'm talking about government, it could also apply to any service provider. If I as a government am providing service, let us say income tax department, if you want to access my website, and to access that website, if you have to change your operating system to proprietary. If you have changed your browser to proprietary browser, I think you are, what do you say? You are very much, justified in claiming compensation from that government or from that service provider. Because no service provider can actually force you to switch over to X technology. Now, that's actually not ethical, it's not legal. Point number one. Point number two, if you upload a document in the public domain, I just put .doc.docx ppt, and I also put .mky, I think, which is a very famous name, file system in the world. I don't know whether you heard of it. That's proprietary, MKY, .mky. It sells $1 million, but nobody knows about it. So just take an example. Under Section 4.1 of the RTI, Right to Information Act, where a government officer is supposed to put all the information on the websites. I can do that. I can put all my files as .mky, put it on the net, and I will comply with that act, Section 4.1, and still none of you will be able to see anything. That's what is the hidden, the catch. So the thing is that if you're doing something in the public, it must be done with public standards and the formats for which I don't have to switch to any proprietary product. Now that's basically my proposition. If anybody does that and you are suffering, you please ask him to put the license key over there for you to download. If he doesn't do that, you ask him for compensation. So that's the kind of thought that I'm putting before you to debate and think over it. And I'm sure one of these days is going to come. Of course, Microsoft or no Microsoft, I think I personally see that the Microsoft, it's a very small arena. It's most often talked about, but there are other areas. The area that I want to talk about is GIS. GIS is today 99% proprietary. Nobody talks about their TCO. The World Bank doesn't come and talk about TCO in GIS. Of course, they talk about TCO in computer education in schools. They talk about it in health and all that. But when you go to GIS, you find that everything is proprietary. Nobody really needs to figure out how much it will take to equip all the government offices with Arc Info software. You can just work out the cost. One license may be costing 5 lakh rupees. So you can just multiply the number of licenses that you want to have. That's simple. Are we really looking at standards there or not? And in India, of course, there are other things which I don't want to speak about because I think it will become too subjective, too sectoral as well. That's the thing. And I want to show here you two things which is trying to bridge this gap. What we have done in Assam is that we're just trying to bridge that small gap in GIS. Today, in the free and open source software world, lots of tools are available. Okay, they are not patched or they are available separately in different domains. But if you put them together, what you get is probably Arc Info kind of a fellow can never deliver in lifetime. The power of the free and open software is immense, but unfortunately, it's not bridged. So what we're trying to do in this project called Gariasi, it's a Government of India funded project that we are doing, and then the iGariasi, just trying to put these things together and make one interface for GIS for free use in the government, and the researchers and the community and the students across anywhere. So these are some few screenshots. I just wanted to show you that you can do almost anything that you do with any other proprietary software. And certain things are in fact better than what you can do in proprietary software. Okay, that's web implementation. Today, most of the web servers using MAP are all mostly on open source. We have done a little better implementation on that. Now, another thing which I want to tell you is that appropriate technology, let's say for surveying. For example, you all own lands and property. You know the village maps, the village boundaries. Have you ever thought, are they really correct? Government of India, and I think all the state governments, are spending a lot of money trying to digitize those maps. And there are a lot of programs happening all over the country. But has anybody really seen that what we are digitizing, is that map worth digitizing? I had a look at, these are some of the sheets. What happens basically, just to give you a background, is a surveyor goes in the village, he uses theodolite, he measures distance and angles and all that. He looks at the stars, and then he fills up huge charts. These are 4 feet, 5 feet long charts that he fills up, and it takes him almost 1 year to do that job. He has to calculate everything manually, and after that, he makes a polygon. And that polygon finally goes to the settlement officer, who then says, okay, this is your land. Now, what I found is that in the process, you see, here is the list of the observed angles. Then he computes time, then he computes azimuth, and it's all mathematics, spherical trigonometry, and astronomy. Then he comes up, what do you call it, a traverse table, makes the polygon, and there is your land. But if you look at these things, you'll find that they're done manually, and there are lots of errors. And I really wonder why we are digitizing all these sheets of paper, wasting crores of rupees. We might as well just do de novo survey and tell the people, please forget your boundaries for time being. Okay? But anyway, government is doing that. So what we did was that.
Mr. Yadav, I would request.
Okay, just 1 minute. We wrote a small program which does almost everything, automates 1 year's labor, it just does in 1 second. So it's a command line program. It's not that magical one click of a button, which I think is what most of the the companies try to promote. But I think one click is not the thing in the computer, should not be at least. Okay, so you see, fine. And that's how the output is generated, automated. So his 1 year labor gets sorted out in 1 second. Thank you.